Many players come to video games for long experiences, so today let's talk about some of the longest mainstream games from gaming in 2022. Now, what we did here was round up the longest popular games from HowLongToBeat.com statistics. This is for general playtime. Completionist 100% runs are a different story. Consider this more straightforward normal playthroughs with some distractions. We got a lot of games to talk about, so let's get started off with number 10. Disney's Dreamlight Valley is a game you probably didn't expect us to talk about, but it's one that definitely popped off in 2022. People seem to have really dug it. Whether you're a hardcore Disney fan or maybe a younger player or maybe a parent, you could spend a lot of time in this game world. It's kind of like an Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon type adventure-y crossover with you creating your own character and running around the magical world of Disney with various Disney and Pixar characters. Collecting stuff, doing stuff, little quests. And while the game is still not really technically a complete game, it's still in kind of like a weird early access, you can technically finish it. And the average, according to HowLongToBeat.com, is 53 hours. That is a lot of time running around with Mickey Mouse and Elsa, but hey, some people really want to do it. If you're looking to jump into a world filled with nostalgia and your favorite characters and just kind of do some good old-fashioned fun, simple video game stuff, Disney Dreamlight Valley might be the thing. Next at number 9, we have LX2, which is the follow-up to the kind of cult-following original RPG open-world sci-fi game. LX2 kind of received a little bit more of a mixed response, but what you have here is a big old game with lots to do. You're fighting monsters, you're doing quests, you're exploring this world on your jetpack, and you're dealing with different factions. There's a lot of NPCs that can kind of remember what you do, and it's pretty interesting. It's a little clunky, it's a little weird, but it's a third-person action RPG with choices and character building, and it might scratch that itch for you. If you decide to jump in, plan to spend at least 57 hours on average with it. Next, over at number 8, we have Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Now, the mainline Fire Emblem games are definitely beasts, but the spin-off Warriors is definitely no slouch, and 3 Hopes is way better than the previous one. This game is pretty great, and if you're a fan of Fire Emblem, specifically 3 houses with the really cool, now iconic house leaders, you get a lot more time with them here. They do cool stuff. Byleth, there's something interesting going on with that, but there's just a ton of game. I do remember with this one there were some bad checkpoints here and there though, so maybe that'll add to your playtime. Just definitely be warned. It's a challenge. It's a hack and slash action RPG, and that's a lot of fun, the combat and stuff, but it still has all that Fire Emblem stuff. You're still spending lots of time getting to know tons of interesting characters, and with that, expect to spend around 57 hours on average. Next, over at number 7, we have Harvestella. This is an RPG with life simulation elements from Square Enix, so they know what they're doing. This is very much an adventure RPG with you building a character, using your allies, fighting things, and generally trying to save the world. But they put a lot of lore into this one, and it really works with you building up your house as this base and engaging with the seasons and farming. And with games like this, of course, you can spend tons of hours, over 100 with this one, to 100% complete it. But if you just want to enjoy it straightforward and see it from beginning to end, expect about 60 hours for this one. It's a pretty simple one, but if you're someone who's into Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing, but you like a dash of a good old-fashioned JRPG, it's a pretty good hybrid. Next, over at number 6, we have Marvel's Midnight Suns, which is an interesting game and one that's longer than you might expect. This is essentially an XCOM-style game mixed with a bit of a life sim type of game, like a friendship adventure type game. Half of it is around combat. You're battling in turn-based battles with this card system, and it requires a good amount of thought, contemplation, and strategy. And while it is from the creators of XCOM, it doesn't play like XCOM, but it does have that level of interesting depth to it. And plus, it's with Marvel characters, so it's really cool to like use a special move that involves Captain Marvel and Captain America, and Spider-Man shows up, or Wolverine, even Ghost Rider gets involved. There's some good deep cuts here. And then when you're done battling with all your favorite heroes, you head back to your home base where you grind out stuff, power your characters up, and spend lots of time talking to allies. You can make different dialogue decisions, you can choose to befriend them for added benefits, you can go on side missions to improve your friendships, and even go on little friend dates, like, you know, go fishing with Blade or read a book with Wolverine. It's absolutely weird, but it's also charming and quirky. Some people might write it off as silly fan fiction type stuff, where other people are going to totally embrace that. But the game also gives you a ton of that. If you love that, there's so much optional stuff to pursue in this game. But with a good mix of both, expect to spend about 60 hours in it. Next, over at number 5, we have V Rising. Now, this one is a damn near perfect vampire simulator. In it, you wake up from a deep, centuries-long slumber, and your goal is to rebuild your castle and take your power back. This game is part open world, part survival, part top-down adventure hack and slash game, and it's got a pretty vast open world. A really fun way of adventuring while building up your vampire supremacy and doing vampire stuff like worrying about the sun. It's got a good day and night cycle, and you're going to spend a lot of time here. Now, you can consider it half multiplayer survival game. You know, it can be played single player, but it's borderline because most people are playing it cooperatively. But the average for this one, according to HowLongToBeat.com, is about 60 hours. Now over at number 4, we have Horizon Forbidden West. Yeah, you probably saw this one coming. Forbidden West is absolutely huge. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn was huge, but Forbidden West takes it to the next level. Not only is it an absolutely bigger world to adventure through with all sorts of variety to it, lots of different sights to see, heights to reach, depths to dive down into, lots of secrets to uncover, but also the game just gives you tons of things to do. The main quest with some side quests here and there, which there are a lot of, just will keep you busy, and once you finish it, you'll be satisfied with the playtime. According to How Long to Beat, the average for people is about 64 hours. That is a lot of time with Aloy, that is a lot of time fighting robot dinosaurs, and people have really been digging it. Next, down at number 3, we have Tactics Ogre Reborn. Now, Tactics Ogre is, of course, a classic at this point. A game way ahead of its time that deals with a lot of heavy themes and just has some great tactical gameplay. This is a dense strategy tactics game. At first glance, it might seem overly complicated, but it's got just the right amount of thinking to it, paired with a good old-fashioned Japanese game developer flair to it that just makes it feel really unique and special, especially once you really dig below the surface. Plus, the story is really good and lengthy. It's like part political intrigue, then part like magical fantasy, lots of characters, but also choices you have to make that do actually affect how the story wraps up. There are multiple endings to this, but just a regular playthrough will probably take you around 70 hours. Now down to number 2, of course, we have Elden Ring. This is From Software's biggest game by far. It has a vast open world that will take you hours and hours to comb over. This is a game that you bang your head against. You figure out what to do next. It takes a while to trudge through it just because you're constantly being challenged, confused, mystified, and really lured along by the carrot on the string that is just kind of seeing new shit and conquering more stuff. The boss battles in this game are incredible. The enemy designs are fantastic. The fact that the game just opens up more and more and gets bigger and bigger as you go. I mean, the map just kind of seems small at first, and just when you thought you've filled out the entire map, it gets bigger and bigger. This is a huge game, and while you don't have to scour every single inch of the map to technically finish it, most people might just naturally, just because they're still learning the ropes of this game and what it has to offer so far into it. We've talked Elden Ring to death now at this point. Like, really, it's just a really special game. It's one of our favorite games of 2022. And according to the statistics on this one, the average is 107 hours. Now down to number 1, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This is an absolutely awesome Nintendo Switch JRPG filled with adventure and characters, and if you know anything about these games, you know that they're pretty long. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 does a really good job with it though, because it's constantly introducing new elements to you consistently throughout almost the entire length of the game, from party members to gameplay elements to massive story concepts. There's a lot to this one. It tells a really intriguing sci-fi story that has a bit more to say than you would expect, with some really solid characters and some damn kick-ass music. They've really finally nailed the perfect sweet spot with the battle system, and although the spam with the characters shouting the same thing over and over again is still there, you're gonna have a lot of fun. If this is your type of game, you should definitely consider it, and it's gonna take you an average of 99 hours. There's a lot of game there. But hey, for this list, that was the top 10 longest games of 2022, according to statistics. We'll link it all down in the description below, but we want to hear from you personally down in the comments. What game from 2022 took you the longest? Was it just a really long game, or was it a game that you just tried to dump every single hour you could into it? Whatever you got for us, definitely let us know. If you enjoyed this video, clicking the like button's all you got to do to help us out. We would really appreciate that. But if you're new, maybe consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell, because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.